Hello to all, and finally welcome to the video for DuckTales, where we review and analyze the many mysteries of Duckberg. This is the next big thing. And it's about freaking time I get into this. Admittedly though, all those other videos were just a mere distraction to set up for this video. But it is true, however, that many did enjoy some of my gameplay, surprisingly. I wanted to make sure that I waited to do this review at least until after we're about halfway through the season. And most of all, when there was going to be at least a 2 or 3 week hiatus. Because if you haven't heard yet, the next episode of DuckTales will be premiering on June the 16th, and that's a long time from now from what I've seen. And now that the time has come, grab some popcorn, activate your light bulb for thinking, because it's time to review DuckTales. Let's just all begin with the main characters. We have Huey, the red-shirted one, basically the Dipper Pines of the group, and also carries around a book for emergencies. I mean, you even see him doing that in the intro of the show, and a lot of these famous cartoons are starting to do that mysterious book trend. I wonder why. Next on the list, we have Louie, the green-shirted one, aka the most troublesome of the group. Dewey, who mainly is my favorite character of the 3 bunch, because, well, blue is actually my favorite color. Plus, I personally take a liking to believe that he's the most relatable out of the rest. However, by far the best character overall, in my opinion, is Webby. She's not yet well adjusted to the outside world due to her life mainly taking place inside of the mansion. So whenever there's a situation during a mystery where the gang needs some help with codes or secret passages, sometimes we have moments of Webby knows everything ancient ex machina, which isn't a problem. At least she has a reasonable backstory of why she knows all this. Plus, she does have moments of being completely awkward and feeling left out at times, but mostly can be energetic and a cool friend. So basically she's Mabel but less annoying. Next we have on the list is Launchpad, basically the Seuss of the entire show. It's like they're trying to make the next Gravity Falls. Does anyone even notice this? But don't worry, they don't make him completely dumb. They do the same thing like how they did Seuss. He's not exactly dumb, he's more of a silly person. He for sure knows the difference between right and wrong, and there's even an episode proving that he's more than just some random dummy. Miss Beakley, who is basically known to be almost the exact opposite of Launchpad, is known to be clean and organized. She's mainly known to be the fierce grandmother of Webby herself, but she's also known as the housekeeper for Scrooge McDuck. And you can see for yourself throughout the episodes why Webby is such a ninja, because her grandmother is just as awesome as she is. Oh yes, and of course, and speaking of Scrooge McDuck, let's talk about his nephew, Donald Duck. And basically you all know who Donald Duck is. I mean, he's kind of the duck with anger issues. Kind of like Daffy Duck, but you know, in a different universe. One came out in 1934 and the other came out in 1937. One's a white duck and one's a black Hey, yo, that's racist! So I'm pretty confident that you all should know who is last on the list, and that is Scrooge McDuck himself. He's the duck portrayed as a greedy, rich, less ugly version of the Grinch, hence by the name Scrooge. Obviously, it's a callback to another fictional character, Ebenezer Scrooge. There was a Christmas special for Scrooge McDuck as well, and there was even a slight reference to that in a particular episode.
Instead of spending Christmas in a billionaire's mansion waiting for Santa Claus,
that man is not allowed in my home. He knows what he did.
The dime that you witness within the intro is the very first dime that he ever earned. More details about the dime later on, trust me. First, let's talk about the intro. The animation for it is stunning, and they put in a lot of dedication into it. It made me feel hopeful in this generation because our intros in the early 2000s were way more exciting. I'm saying early 2000s because I honestly can't distinguish myself as a 90s kid, but hey, I still have shows like K&D, Kim Possible, Jackie Chan Adventures, Invader Zim, Chalk Zone, Duck Dodgers, Teen Titans, Danny Phantom, Avatar The Last Airbender, Ben 10, The Boondocks, Chowder, American Dragon, Puka, Yin Yang Yo. Oh, but yeah, those cartoons don't matter at all either, huh? Eat it, 90s kids. Anyways, I'm losing a lot of focus right now. What was I even talking about? Oh yeah. This intro is freaking phenomenal, but there is one critique I must mention. It's freaking long. Oh, and don't worry, here's actual proof of just how long this introduction is. I'm personally used to short and sweet intros, but at least it's not long and dissatisfying. I'll give it an A-. Now here comes the major part of my video, the talk about potential antagonists and characters that are already villains. The thing I love is how they're straight to it with this show. There are already 5 major threats to recognize, and we are only on season number 1. Keep that in mind. The first ones that we see within the show are the Beagle Brothers. They're mainly villains that are in it to impress their mother and try to rob from Scrooge McDuck, and also probably kidnap the kids as well. And so far, the Beagle Brothers, I'd say about 75% of them are majorly known to be extremely stupid and moronic. However, the 1/4 of them, the remaining of them, they're kinda smart, I guess. Some of them are. The next villain I want to get onto is Mark Beaks. I freaking hate this guy. He is the king of Kickstarter cons, okay? And what I mean by that is, haven't you been on Kickstarter before and you heard of stories where people say that they can invent this huge, awesome thing, and then in the very end, after they get their money, they say, oh, you know what? It never existed. This was all just a con. Well, let me break it down to you and just tell you this. Mark Beaks is a prime example of that. That's exactly what he does in an episode. Because of his deceiving scheme, he actually was the top 5 richest of them all in Duckberg. He's definitely a villain, but he's probably just gonna be one of those petty villains, and he's probably not even gonna make that much of a difference. But I will mention, however, at the end of the Buddy episode, he did seem as if he was gonna try to steal the Gizmo Duck machine, which, by the way, is not only a clear reference to the 1987 RoboCop film, but it's also a wink to the movie Super DuckTales. And ever since that episode with Buddy, it really proved to be an efficient robot, so I really hope he doesn't get his hands on it. Another person that I could technically count as an antagonist, not just a silly joke, I would have to mention Flintheart Glomgold, and it took me a while to say that because my head just refused to say the name right. But anyways, besides the point, he is the 2nd richest of Duckberg, and ever since then, he has been trying to get on top and beat McDuck at being the 1st richest of them all. I wouldn't necessarily call him a super dangerous antagonist, but he has his moments, that's for sure. And if there's one thing I need to say, maybe he's gonna be another Ludo, like in Star Vs. Maybe it is true that right now he's not exactly a threat, but over time he could potentially be one. But in my personal opinion, I don't really believe that's gonna happen. I think he's gonna be more like a gag. Another character still very much so worth mentioning, but yet probably not as significant as I would prefer him to be, is Falcon Graves. The guy was a complete Terminator, and he would have gotten away with getting rid of Mark if it wasn't for those meddling kids. Sheesh, I mean, he was only taking out the trash. Anyways, he could potentially be a great villain, but I can't really see that happening. Sure, the kids got in his way in killing off Mark Beaks, but there's not much motivation for him. However, I hope he comes back in the future in an episode, maybe to help. I really like the voice actor of choice for this role. Is that just me?
Go for Beaks.
You've got to be kidding me. Why would you hire me to steal something that doesn't exist?
So he gets to say Project Tada was stolen, but he still keeps the money.
And so, with all that being said, the last and surely not least important of them all on the villain list is Lena. Her first appearance was in the episode The Beagle's Birthday Massacre, and basically it happens whenever Webby first meets her. After seemingly gaining access to McDuck Manor, it seems like she has other plans than just being friends with Webby. You'd think she would have some sympathy for Webby and side with her since they're friends. It can still happen, and it'll most likely be because of a disagreement she has with her Aunt Magica de Spell, or some other family member. Within the Beagle Brother Birthday Massacre Party episode, she clearly reveals that she tries to avert from close ones to avoid argumentative conflict. And then, in the Terror of Terra Firmians episode, she seems to be startled when anything to do with her family is mentioned. The major victor in all of this is the fact that her Aunt Magica was one of the main antagonists of the original DuckTales series. She would constantly obsess over stealing Scrooge's #1 dime, and she was known to be nothing less than a treacherous witch. Just imagine, if a character like her is related to Lena, then I can only think the worst for the rest of the family. And as for my video, I can officially say that it is over. So far, I've enjoyed my viewing of DuckTales. And I also feel like this is gonna be one of those shows where the animation won't be degraded in certain episodes in later seasons like Star Vs. Sorry, it's just that I'm a bit petty when it comes to that stuff. So far, the main mystery is where are the triplets' mother? I haven't been able to figure out much of anything as of date, but maybe soon I can produce a separate video for that. At least we have some idea of her personality from the Spear of Selene episode. Just like Huey, I was extremely confused. Perhaps she took the spear for a good cause, who knows. Well, that just about does it for this gargantuan video. Please subscribe for more content. Thanks for your support, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace!